Welcome to Machine Embroider Your Life from American Quilters Society and Eversewn. It's a series designed to fill your life with embroidery fun. We're making 9 projects, all on the Sparrow X. Today, we're making personalized pillowcases. Let's get started. You can find a link to the written instructions down in the description, and in it we have a pattern for making your own pillowcases if you'd like. So let's go through our supplies really quick. I have a pre-made pillowcase, my 120 by 180 millimeter embroidery hoop and its guide. I have water-soluble sticky stabilizer. I have a ruler, a little pair of scissors for trimming, a seam ripper, some embroidery thread of course, and a few pins. And on my smart device, I have my Eversewn Pro app loaded and ready to go. So let's head to the ironing board. We're going to mark registration marks in our already made pillowcase. I'm going to be centering my design right in the middle. But do it wherever you'd like on the pillowcase. This is just going to help us find that center line for getting it across the band of our pillowcase. If you want to mark it with a water-soluble pen, you're sure welcome to, but I like to press my registration marks. So I am going to fold my pillowcase in half, edge to edge, and that's going to help me find the center. And then I'm going to press a little crease into that center point. And once I have that one, I'm going to fold the long ways. And on this one, it's important to remember that you want to find the center of that stitching area you want. So for instance, I don't want to come up all the way into where the seam is for this. I want to come a little bit lower. So I'm going to fold my bottom up towards the highest point I want my sewing area to cover. I'm keeping the center lined up that I just marked out a minute ago. And making sure it's folded straight. And then I'm going to press a crease. With my centers all marked out, I'm ready to move to hooping. To begin hooping, I'm going to remove the inner hoop from the outer hoop and then take my stabilizer. It has a shiny paper side and a woven, more fabric-y side. I want the fabric side pointed down over my outer hoop, so the shiny paper is pointing up at me. And then I'm going to hoop it by placing that inner hoop in the outer hoop. And you might have to loosen up the nut just because it's a bit of a thicker stabilizer. Once you get it hooped and pushed through the back, you can close the clamp, tighten it down a little, and pull it nice and taut, drum tight. Now we're going to score the paper side of the stabilizer. You can do this with a little pin, or I really like to use the sharp point of my seam ripper. And you're going to score around the outside edges. And then quick little X through the middle. And you can pick at that little center point and lift that paper right off. Once you've taken the paper off the stabilizer, you're going to take your placement guide, set it in the hoop, and I want to mark out the center point just slightly with a pencil, and that's going to get us all ready to place our pillowcase in the hoop. With my hoop turned the right way, I want to show you exactly what I'm looking at as I start to place before the pillowcase starts covering it. So I'm looking at these long sides of my hoop for the center, and it's marked here on my hoop with these little parts that jut out. And then I've got my center in the short side already marked with that center registration mark. So then I'm going to be bringing my pillowcase over, and I've got that long side coming over the attachment part. I'm just kind of pushing the back out of the way so I don't accidentally sew through 2 layers. And then along that crease we made earlier in the long fold, I'm going to refold that. And that is going to help me line up the long center. So I'm bringing that into my hoop, and I can see that I've got that part lined up. And then I'm able to move where that center crease matches the center registration dot. So once I get that all set, I can just press it down onto the sticky stabilizer with my fingertips. Just a little gentle press at first, and then unfold it so that I get it perfectly aligned in the hoop. Once I'm really satisfied with that, I can start to press it flat. I want to especially feel and make sure I don't have anything folded under there, no extra little creases that we don't need. All right, and once that's done, just take your time with it, get it right. I'm going to take a few pins and I'm just going to pin around those sides to help stabilize. And once I've got those pins in, we're ready to install our embroidery hoop. I like to make sure my pillowcase is all tucked away before I start embroidering. So I'm just rolling up the excess. And then to make sure I'm 100% confident I'm not sewing through the back side, I just loop the back over my excess. And then I can clip that just to keep it out of my way. I could use wonder clips, a little hair clip, whatever works best for you. So now that I've got that all set, I can bring it over to the machine and hoop it. I've installed the hoop. I have my machine embroidery thread installed. I have a size 75 machine embroidery needle in the machine, and we're ready to move to our smart device with the Eversewn Pro app. I'm going to click the My Patterns tab, and the pattern I want today is in frame. I'm going to be making this cute design that has paisleys and daisies. And this is the information screen. It has lots of great information here about like how many stitches are in it and its size. The size is actually really important to me with this project because my band is a bit narrow. I measured it earlier with my ruler in millimeters, and I know that I need a design that's only as wide as 70 millimeters. So this design at 67 millimeters is just right. I'm going to click the little pencil at the top to send it to the editing screen. So in the editing screen, it automatically centers it, but if I needed to, I could click the Move tab and push the button with the arrows all pointing towards the center, and that would center it. And then I'm going to come over. I'm going to change my embroidery thread color just because I can. And I'm using a pretty dusty blue today. So we'll pick that out. And with that all set, I'm going to go ahead and add a basting stitch around it. That's found down in the sliding tray at the bottom. And the basting stitch is going to help me make sure that my registration went really well. You can see over in sequence, it always sews the basting stitch first and then your design. So that's all set. I'm going to push the arrow pointing towards the machine up in the right-hand corner, and that will send it to my machine to start stitching. It's going to load, and once it's loaded, I'm ready to get sewing. Our design is all stitched out. We're ready to remove the basting stitches and take off the stabilizer. So let's start with the basting stitches in a seam ripper. You could also do this while it's still in the hoop, but just very simply start taking all those little stitches out. Now that I've trimmed out the basting stitches, I can come in with my pair of scissors and trim out around the embroidery design. I'm making sure that it's all lifted away from the fabric. As I come in, because it's water soluble, I don't have to get right in there. I can just kind of like loosely cut out around it because it'll all dissolve in the wash later. With our stabilizer all cut away, you can turn it out and see your beautiful stitched out pillowcase. Personalized pillowcases are super fun to make for gifts or to personalize any bedroom with that special touch. I've had so much fun making this project with you today. Stick around to hear more about the Eversewn Sparrow X. A special thanks to our sponsor, Eversewn. I'm having so much fun making projects with my Eversewn Sparrow X. If you'd like to get to know the machine a little better, you can download the Eversewn Pro app right now. You can find it in the App Store or Google Play Store. And to learn more about the machine, check out the link in the description below for a walkthrough video. Thanks for watching.